All right, guys, we have much more news coming up, but we are going to go to Landon Idlet. He is standing by at his office at the National Weather Service right now because I know he's got an 8:30, so we're going to bring him on a little bit early so he can tell you what exactly is going on with the weather. I know, Landon, good morning to you, first of all, half a day, and there was a formation that you guys are keeping a key eye on, right? What's going on with that?
That's correct. As I'm getting situated back at my desk, I had to grab something to drop off to you all.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we've been watching that tropical disturbance 94W since I guess it was Friday when we opened up that Invest Area Joint Typhoon Warning Center. That has progressed sluggishly through the weekend, but it was upgraded to a tropical cyclone formation alert early this morning by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. Now it's poised to develop further through the day, so we could be seeing some changes. Currently, it is still just a tropical disturbance, but it is starting to take shape as we move into the later morning hours. So I'm going to turn you over to the animation right there. And that's our disturbance right there. This is what we've been watching as it traversed through Pohnpei and Chuuk states over the weekend. It was upgraded to medium for development early Saturday morning, and it was looking pretty good that morning, but then it was just sluggish to actually develop and get itself organized over the weekend until this morning. Now it's starting to look a lot better as it has consolidated since it was in the Micronesia states end of the week, where it had showers and thunderstorms across much of the region. So the infrared does not look too impressive with the warming cloud tops. And by warming cloud tops, that means these cores of deep convection, those bright colors, those are fading out. The reds and the blues and the purples, those are the coldest cloud top temperatures or the highest clouds in the atmosphere, signaling deep convection and showers and thunderstorms. But this is just a cycle, and we're starting to see new bursts of convection as we go through the morning hours. So we're starting to get that consistent belt of convection with this disturbance. And I'm going to switch over to visible now that we have the daylight visual from the satellite. It's a large mass of moisture coming toward Guam, Rota, and probably scraping by Tini and the Saipan as well. This is what we're going to be dealing with on Tuesday in some shape or form. Will it be a tropical depression? Will it be a tropical storm? It's still too early to say yet, but things are starting to take shape. And this is why we've been saying people need to pay close attention to this. Even though it's a disorganized disturbance over the weekend, it is getting its shape together at this point. So what we're going to be looking at in the next several hours is hopefully we'll get some polar orbiting satellites, get a good scan and a pass over this disturbance in the next several hours to help us in the Joint Typhoon Warning Center make decisions regarding this situation. Will it be upgraded to a tropical depression later today? That is certainly a possibility. What will that mean for Weather Service watches and warnings and also conditions of readiness? That's all going to be in the discussion today, so stay tuned. As always, this thing is upstream of us, and it is. We have to watch this closely and be prepared. Currently, our forecast, we're maximizing conditions for showers, thunderstorms, gusty winds on Tuesday night to early Wednesday morning. Will this be like a typhoon shutter type event? Not so much, but it will definitely be a tent and canopy type of event. If you have tents and canopies and tarps put up in your yards, outside your house, you definitely want to heavily secure those or take them down at least through Wednesday morning.
And
so
there's probably a lot of people who did that because of
concern.
Father's Day. They probably had cookouts, or they went outside and barbecued, or at least hung out. And because it was so hot, they probably just kicked back in the shade, right?
That's exactly it. And so make sure those are down or heavily secured, as well as other loose items. But this will not be an epic tropical cyclone event for us, but it will bring much needed rainfall to the islands. We do have a high fire danger for Guam, and that's been creeping up steadily over the last several weeks. So the rain will be much appreciated, but hopefully not much more than that. So Jason, if you want to cue up the slides right quick, and we'll go right into
made sure I got the right date
forecast.
this week.
Yes, good, thank you. Now again, we did issue a special weather statement regarding this disturbance earlier this morning. So that is in effect. Go to our webpage over here on the right, and you'll see that highlighted link, special weather statement. The risk of rip currents is moderate. I forgot to edit that this morning, and the Guam fire danger is high. Last week, we did hold a regional climate conference updating the outlook for the tropical cyclones expected for our region and as well as all of the Micronesia region. We have posted that to our webpage. If you go to the top of our webpage, weather.gov/GUM, look under news headlines, update on 2021 Western North Pacific Tropical Cyclone Outlook that discusses the outlook for our tropical cyclones in the region, as well as our current state of the climate. We are in INSO neutral conditions. So in short, we are expecting a busier season for tropical cyclones than what we saw last year when we were under a strong La Nina. So go to the next slide, Jason. The current conditions, we are heating up across the day. Not bad. Beautiful morning out there. So this is the time to secure your loose items and your tents and canopies and tarps. Temperature 82 degrees, going up with those light winds. So we could see a little bit of a afternoon flare-up of convection, much as we saw the last several days. Not quite as much moisture as we saw yesterday. Here at the airport, we did not get much rain, just a nickel of rainfall at the airport, but other areas saw brief heavy downpours with this passing showers and thunderstorms. Everywhere I went yesterday, it was bone dry, but if I was on the motorcycle, guaranteed it would be raining. The next slide shows our graphic tropical cyclone formation alert for that disturbance that's approaching Guam from our southeast. That's going to be the thing we have to watch closely today. How quickly will it develop? How much problem will it cause for us? How much rainfall is expected? The wind implications. And that's what we're going to be focusing very closely with every bit of available data that's coming into our office from satellites and other sources. This is going to be a busy one for forecasters indeed. The next slide, this is the Joint Typhoon Warning Center graphic. Again, tropical cyclone formation alert that was issued earlier this morning. And the TCFA means a development into a tropical depression is likely within 12 to 24 hours. The next slide just details what a tropical cyclone is, and that's all tropical systems from a tropical depression, tropical storm to a typhoon, and that's based on wind speeds and intensities. Now keep in mind, when we're dealing with depressions, storms, and typhoons, the threat is not limited to only winds, but also to rainfall, flash flood, mudslide potential, and also dangerous seas and surf and storm surge. So those are part of the triple threat that we have with tropical cyclones. The next slide, that shows, I was talking about this last week and Jason had the wrong week posted. No worries, Jason. Oops. You're good. This is where we link our TC forecast for the region. They're closely hinged to the state of the climate. And right now we're in an INSO neutral pattern. So we're looking at near normal tropical cyclone activity for this year. Last year, we were in a strong La Nina that kept all the activity generating near and west of our area. And then the opposite of that would be the El Nino. Think back to 2015. We had tropical cyclones throughout the year coming through the islands. We had a lot of activity. And somehow Guam was very fortunate that we did not take a direct hit from any significant tropical cyclones in 2015. We had Bavi in March, Dolphin in May, and then Chen Home for the 4th of July weekend, and a number of other storms come through the region later in the year. And that was the year that Typhoon Sunalor passed right over Saipan, causing significant damage. The next slide, that just goes through a run through of our tropical storm and typhoon watches and warnings. June is Typhoon Preparedness Month, and it's not a better time to show this than now, especially if we're going to be dealing with possible scenarios with this tropical depression that's inbound to Guam today. So tropical storm watch and typhoon watches and warnings, they're based on the onset of damaging winds. That's 39 miles per hour. That does not mean that is the time that the storm's going to pass over. That is when those damaging winds of 39 mile per hour winds are set to begin. And so tropical storm force winds, those are 39 miles per hour and greater. So watches and warnings, onset of winds are possible within 48 hours. And for warnings, those winds are expected to begin within 24 hours. So those are the critical details that a lot of times people get confused. So learn those terminology, and we can discuss that on our webpage as well, as far as watches and warnings and what they mean. So the next slide, that shows our polar orbiting scatterometer showing the winds. The pass overnight did miss that disturbance, unfortunately. So we do not have the wind data available in this pass, but it shows light winds elsewhere. And this circulation has been fortunately very small and not too much trade wind forcing to the north end. That could still change as the storm environment develops in the next 12 to 24 hours. The next slide, the seas and surf, they are flatlined for the last week, but we see that peak in the purple line. That's the model forecast for what we expect the waves to become. That's based off of the system passing through us, peaking around 6 or 7 feet on Tuesday. So season surf will climb rapidly as this thing approaches. So we could see hazardous conditions along east and south facing reefs and possibly small craft advisories depending on the extent of the winds and the combined seas. And that's all I've got for you this morning. I did not have time to put the week ahead, but it does not look bad for the rest of the week for Guam and the CNMI. So yeah, the next 36 hours, that'll be the tricky part that we have to watch very closely. Stay tuned to our webpage, weather.gov/GUM, for short changed updates. And if this thing develops rapidly and we start having changes in our conditions or have to issue watches, join us on Facebook Live sometime this afternoon. We'll be broadcasting that on our Facebook page.
I was just about to ask you that.
Facebook page frequently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have an ETA of when you guys anticipate on going live in Facebook so everybody can, kind of like stay? Or actually what you can do is go to Facebook, make sure you follow Landon and his crew over there at NWS Guam, and then just enable the thing on Facebook when it says when they go live, you get the notification.
And then Landon,
That's correct.
If you do have a development today that we want to share in the morning, feel free to shoot me a text and we'll get you on in the morning.
Absolutely. Yeah. So check our Facebook page. If we're going to go live, we're going to broadcast it. We're going to advertise it by text on our Facebook page. Try to give about a 2 hours heads up notice. So check our page frequently. We'll be watching it for any kind of changes.
You're part of the show here. You're part of the family, and we know, you like to keep things positive and everything. And you and your crew, you guys are men and women of science, and you have devoted your life to studying this stuff. However, you're also Guamanian citizens, and this stuff affects you as much as it does Joe, Sir, and Chris and I and everything like that. So, we know you guys got your game face on, and you guys are buckling down and really paying attention to this thing.
Yeah, well, we're going to be watching it closely. Apologies to my plants in my yard. They're going to have to blow around. I don't have time to get to them. But and as far as storm names, Mayor Hoffman was just WhatsApping me just now. He wants to name it after him. So let me talk to my counterparts in the Typhoon Committee and see what we can come up with.
What letter are we on? Is it H or R?
Well, we're not on letter, and I don't have the list with me with the Typhoon Committee names. But there is a predetermined list. So maybe tomorrow we'll talk about names.
Cool. Okay. So we see you tomorrow.
Don't Google it.
Yeah. Gotcha. Thanks, Landon.
Thank you.
All right. There you go. Landon Idlett from the National Weather Service. Brought to you by Docomo Pacific. It's work week, weather, Jay. So obviously they're keeping a very good eye on that.
Yeah. So, and like you said, I mean, things are not expected to get terribly bad, but right now, with the uncertainty of what this weather system is going to do, it seems like it was just trudging along there. I remember I was supposed to go out, and I was saying I was supposed to take pictures of the Salvation Army's planned painting thing. They called me on Friday and they said, we're expecting some rain, so we just don't want to have volunteers come out